Since our inception, we have donated over $1.5 billion.
We do use a lot of upbeat music, and we try to use a lot of words like inspiring and hope.
If you are a breast cancer survivor, raise your hands high above your head.
Can we take a step back? What is going on?
We're missing something big.
Raising money has become the priority regardless of the consequences.
If people actually knew what was happening, they would be really pissed off.
What do you feel when you see a pink ribbon?
Well, I decided 2 years ago that I will not go on my car with a pink ribbon. And I feel very touched, that's for sure. Because as a cancer-free, meanwhile, survivor, yes, you can say that, it's tough. I don't have to out me for that, you know, so it's kind of mixed feelings.
I'm the same. I have mixed feelings. I think that the awareness is a good thing for people to know that it's there, and for people to be aware that women have breast cancer. And I sort of joke that it would be breast cancer that gets promoted in the way that it has, because women who have breast cancer tend to be powerful, outgoing women who are going to advance their cause. That said, I have a lot of cancer in my family, and I don't do pink ribbon events, and I'm not exactly sure why, but there's something within it that doesn't ring as completely authentic for me either.
I wish that they could also hear from all the women who have been through breast cancer and resent the effort to make it pretty and feminine and normal. It's not normal. It's horrible.
The pinkness as such, for me, means a lot of commercial thinking. That's for sure. And that's what the movie brings out so dramatically. That is what touched me so much in this regards. And I don't know what you think about the pink. I mean, the pink is pretty. You can wear it very nicely too. Mm-hmm. But in the conjunction with the cancer, and that's pretty, I don't know.
What I really hear in the whole Pink Ribbon campaign, and I think they talk about it in the film as well, is many people, when they have a family member or somebody that they know who has cancer, want to find a way to help. And one of the hard things about it is that ultimately the cancer journey is a very personal journey. It involves the family, it involves the friends, it involves the community, but really it's an individual journey. And so what I think that the whole campaign does, and the whole, jumping for cancer and running for cancer and walking for cancer, it gives people who maybe aren't directly touched by the disease or themselves, but I see it as them giving a way that they feel they can make a difference and they can join in. And that's where I think it's really powerful. But in order to get people to buy in, it can't be too scary, right? If everybody was wearing black and carrying candles and crosses and stuff, it would have a totally different energy behind it. So I think it does try to address that.
We were still doing surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy, maybe slightly different. We weren't doing as much surgery, and maybe we were doing more chemotherapy than when I started. But really, we were still doing the same things.
I was actually pleasantly surprised watching this movie, because after I agreed to be interviewed about it, I thought, oh God, I don't even know what I'm going to be talking about. And what I really liked about it was the fact that it brought up a really important question. I mean, I think it's a question partly for breast cancer, but it's for all cancer research, is there's so much money being put in and what's being looked at. And what often comes up for me is what's not being looked at. And I like the fact that they address the fact that not much of that funding is going to research into prevention and into what's actually causing the cancer. A new drug comes out, people get very excited about it. It doesn't do anything that different from the other ones. And often we don't realize that as the public. You have to really look at it. It's like, this is 50% better than the last one, but it's not really that different.
What I experienced with Anita, for example, I was thankful because through my experience at Inspire Health and the recommendation to see you, I've learned as an active survivor to look behind the scene and all of a sudden found out, well, it's not only the lifestyle disease, what's going on in this society? Is it really that we are using too much plastic? Is it because I am estrogen positive, receptor positive and stuff like that? So I think it's important as well that the patient as such has more awareness, and this is what the movie brings out so well. I get a goosebump when I listen to or I watch it, because it fits exactly my needs. I would like to know, as a cancer-free person in this society, where is the money going in and what's happening.
So Anita, are there any alternative therapies from Europe that you apply in your practice?
Europe is far advanced beyond where we are from that perspective of looking at, adding in homeopathy and adding in acupuncture and looking at, not just for breast cancer, looking at hypothermia treatments. And so a lot of that's come from Europe, but it also comes from other parts of the world. And when we start looking, it actually belongs in every indigenous culture. People have battled cancer for years without, chemo, radiation, and surgery, and people have survived through the years. So it's getting back to what we know and looking at what else is out there. So some people will choose to do that instead of conventional treatment. Some people will do it with conventional treatment. So a lot of times people using acupuncture or herbal therapies to help to modify the symptoms of their conventional treatment. And then a lot of people will choose to use it after to sort of help themselves ensure that they or do their best to ensure that they don't get anything back.
Why do you think that the breast cancer movement and the pink ribbon movement gets more attention, or in my view, more attention than other diseases or other cancers maybe? Possibly with the exception of prostate cancer, which is also relatively widespread through this Movember movement that we just had.
Can I touched on that a little bit before. I think it's because of the nature of the people who get breast cancer. I think that breast cancer tends to occur in women who are outspoken and powerful and used to having control over their lives and seeking it out. And so that their response to a threat is to go out and challenge it and make it aware and try to change what's happening. So I think the movement is actually an attribute of the type of women who get the cancer. And that's just my opinion. I don't think there's any evidence for that.
Women, of course, react, and now comes the chain reaction on pink. They react on the outspoken situation. They react on the social clicking as well, that we say, well, I want to go with my sister and walk. It's kind of for me, again, a chain reaction on feminine movement in all directions. And today it's so easy to do because you have so and so many companies who promote that and make it easy for you. And for us as women, it fits very well to do that, I think. I mean, again, I'm not in favor for that, because I think you have to start your own movement. Means that the movement starts in your lifestyle changes, starts in whatever you do, yoga, Pilates, exercise. And then on top of it, you could probably participate, but I think it's you first who has to start the movement, So.
I think breasts themselves are sort of a symbol of sexuality in our society, and I think they've been sort of both shamed and they've also been sexualized. So I think there's this radicalization in a way of talking about breast cancer. I mean, it used to be a word that we giggled about, right, when we were children. So to kind of make it up in front has a sort of a dangerous thing about it too. And since so many people are breastfed, and because men have some connection with breasts, I think in some ways it ends up being a very good poster child for cancer, because somehow people connect to it on some level at all.
Well, I would really like to encourage, as soon as the movie comes out on February the 3rd, to watch it, because it's definitely an eye-opener for all of us. And being with Inspire Health and being a really happy patient or a happy human being again, I really do hope that we find so much research and so much sources with all the money the wonderful pink ribbon makes. And one of the sources are definitely my beautiful silver bracelet I'm wearing here. I got that through Inspire Health. It's the F cancer bracelet, and that is my statement. I'm not going with the pink ribbon on my car, I'm going with my F cancer, because I really want to do this strong message to encourage not only to go to the mammogram, to just watch a movie like that and be a little bit more aware and change and do whatever you want, because you're a woman and you have the right to say no or yes to the future.
Thank you, ladies, for your contribution. It was wonderful, and all the best to you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
That was great.
That was great.
Liebe Zuschauer, nachdem wir leider schon weg waren aus dem schönen Deep Cove, haben wir das Angebot bekommen, die Autorin Samantha King zu interviewen, die das Buch Pink Ribbons Inc. geschrieben hat, auf dem der Film basiert. Pink Ribbons Inc. hat übrigens auch eine Schweizer Regisseurin. Die ist leider nicht hier, aber wir sprechen jetzt mit Samantha King. Hello, Samantha. Your book Pink Ribbons Inc. was published in 2006. Have you seen any changes in corporate philanthropy since that time?
Well, I began researching the book in the late 1990s, and I have to admit at that point I thought it was a fad that would soon diminish. But I've been surprised by the way it's actually continued to grow. So every year we see more corporations selling products with the breast cancer theme. On the brighter side of things, there is a lot more critical attention in the media and among the public to the problems with this practice. So at the same time that it's growing, we also see questions about it being asked more frequently.
Dr. King, what exactly is pinkwashing?
Pinkwashing is a term coined by Breast Cancer Action, an activist group in San Francisco, to describe how corporations who manufacture products that are linked to breast cancer, so toxic cosmetics, for example, also engage in breast cancer marketing, so selling products to raise money for the cause.
What would you advise consumers who are sympathetic with the breast cancer patients to do? Should they continue buying pink ribbon products, or should they maybe do something completely different?
The argument that the film makes is that people shouldn't necessarily stop raising money, but that we should be asking questions about how we raise the money and where that money goes. I usually suggest donating directly to organizations that you support rather than filtering your money through large corporations.
Dr. King, thank you for writing this wonderful book, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me on the show.